The February 9th meeting of the School Board of Charlotte County is called to order. This evening we have Dr. Doug Whitaker in the superintendent's seat. That's part of Dr. Gaylor's Share the Fun program. And he gives an opportunity to each of the assistant superintendents to come and sit in the seat of superintendent during the year and work with the board and run a meeting. So Dr. Whitaker will be handling the superintendency duties this evening. And Angie Talon, principal of our elementary Title I School of Distinction, will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I should also mention that Dr. Gaylor is in the audience, should we need some help from him. Dr. Whitaker, are there any additions or corrections for this evening's agenda?
Yes, Mrs. Seifert, there is. There's an addition to Agenda F1I, Contracts and Agreements, Comcast E-rate qualification.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we add to this evening's agenda item F1I, the E-rate contract with Comcast. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And next we have reports.
Yes, Mrs. Seifert, board members, I'm going to request that you join me down front and also invite Dr. Gaylor to come up front. We have three reports this evening. Good evening. Welcome. I'm going to invite Jerry Olivo to come to the podium for our first recognition, and that is the Maintenance and Operations Employee of the Year.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, school board members, Dr. Gaylor, Dr. Whitaker. First, I have to start by thanking our new Maintenance and Operations Director, Mr. Spur, who willingly gave up his opportunity to his first chance at the podium to allow me, as the outgoing director, to have the honor of one more time sharing with you our Maintenance and Operations Employee of the Year. And I mean that sincerely. Gene was more than happy to let me do this, and I was more than thrilled to do this. I've enjoyed doing this since July of '02. Our M&O department has continued the journey to embrace success by having an Employee of the Month program. And as in the past, the criteria for that program was peers within the department utilizing a multi-voting technique that demonstrated qualities of excellence such as a positive attitude, trustworthy and ethical behavior, high quality of productivity, maintaining, demonstrating, and exhibiting effective working relationships with both our internal and our external customers. At the end of each month, a representative from the different various sub-departments within the M&O team meet and nominate one of their peers for Employee of the Month. And that Employee of the Month is recognized with a certificate that we proudly display in our M&O offices. We're running out of wall space, but we surely are pleased to continue to do that. They receive a lapel pin, which they so often attach to their ID, and it makes us very proud to know, and in some cases we have employees that have 4 and 5 pins. It's an awesome feeling for us. They also receive their own very own parking space for the month, and of course they get recognized at our team meetings, and they're eligible for consideration for Employee of the Year. In December of '09, during our Employee of the Year celebration, end of the year celebration, the elections were held, and as always, we have an election official that's outside of our department that tallies those votes. We want to make sure that it's all done properly. And this year, As in past years, our winner exemplifies the meaning of the phrase. For us, part of our branding is that the customer always comes first. Throughout her 20 years of service to the students and staff of Charlotte County Public Schools, our 2009 Employee of the Year has always answered each call of assistance with a smile and can-do attitude. Teamwork is our motto. Proves that there is no such thing as a self-made individual. You can only reach your goals with the success and help of others. This individual demonstrates each and every day that success doesn't come to you. You have to go and get it. Our current Employee of the Year, or this year's Employee of the Year, started working as a secretary with the Adult and Education Community Center in July of 1989. And in October of 94, she transferred over to the Maintenance and Operations Department thinking it was going to be a piece of cake. In February of 2000, she had the honor and the privilege of helping me work each and every day side by side. And how she managed to stay with a smile each day is certainly noteworthy. I will say that some of these gray hairs are because of her help in keeping me straight. My wife said I shouldn't say this, but I need to say it anyway, and that is that there's a motto, not sure where it started, but behind every successful man there's a woman telling him he's wrong. And our Employee of the Year over the years told me in a very, very nice way many times, Mr. Olivo, you're wrong, and we need to do it this way. And sometimes I listened, and sometimes I didn't. And when I didn't, I never got an I told you so. I just got a smile. So it is my honor, certainly my honor, to bestow our Employee of the Year plaque this year to Ms. Patricia Oates. Patricia is joined this evening by her sons John and Michael, her daughter-in-law Alicia, her granddaughter Amber, her grandson Tyler, her brother Rick Ayers, sister-in-law Pat, nephew Nicholas, and last but not least, well known as Miss Awesome, her granddaughter Amber. Thank you so much.
Next on the agenda, board members, I'm going to ask Rick Duckworth to come forward with this year's presentation of our Master Fitness Awards.
Madam Chair, members of the board, superintendent in training, and esteemed counselor. 'Twas a crisp autumn morning on November 14th, at least as crisp as... And now I have to start all over again. At least as crisp as November gets in Florida. The sun had crested the tree line. Its slanted rays slowly cooking the dew, coating the grass. 30 hearty cooking the dew. 30 hearty souls shuffled across the gridiron end zone at Port Charlotte High School, ready to challenge the power of Earth's gravity on them. It was the morning of the second annual Master Fitness Challenge. This year we had 30 participants who chose to face the same physical fitness challenge faced by thousands of American soldiers annually. These participants demonstrated their readiness to confront any of life's obstacles by completing as many push-ups and sit-ups as possible in 2 minutes, then running 2 miles in as short a time frame as they were capable. Some of us did better than others. Based on age and number of repetitions or time, each participant received a score. The minimum to be successful was 60 points in each event, or a total score of 180 points. Everyone being recognized tonight earned a minimum of 210 points. Of those who participated last year, everyone improved their scores. And now it is time to congratulate each of these Master Fitness successes. Earning the bronze badge, a much coveted badge, with a score between 211 points and 239 points. I would like to invite up Miss Tina Dionisio, Carolyn Foster, Adrian McElroy, Jerry Olivo, and Allison Portwood. These much-desired badges, as you can see, are not only attractive and well-designed, but they say HUA 2009, recognizing this year's competition. Receiving the silver badge with a score between 240 points and 259 points, Mr. Fran Brasser. Mr. Jeff Harvey and Jocelyn Tavano. You're welcome. The highly sought after, much acclaimed gold badge, with scores between 260 points and 279 points, goes to Dylan Bennett, Colette Combs, Marcia Loudon, and Angie Nolan, and yes, David Quackenbush. Finally, the ultimate recognition in the Master Fitness world, a mark of the athlete, the apex of physical development, our gold medal recipients. These stellar examples of readiness received a score of at least 280 points or more than 90 points in each event. They are the true masters of fitness. Gary Bernardo. Kathy Foley. And Kathy received a perfect score of 300. For the second year, David Gaylor. John LeClaire. Michael Loudon with a perfect score of 300. Matt McElroy with a perfect score of 300. His wife is going to get it because she's looking for the inspiration. Dan McIntosh with a perfect score of 300. It's a Port Charlotte thing. Also another second-year winner with a perfect score, Ms. Cheryl Reitzman. And you came for this one. I'm so happy. Last year I had to run her down at the school. And our surprise winner. 2 years ago, with a lot of assistance, she was able to do 1.5 push-ups. She couldn't count to 2 miles, much less run them. And in 2 years, Donna Widmeyer has managed to reach gold medal standards. Let's give everybody a huge round of applause. And we look forward to all of you joining us next year for the 3rd annual. I've got a lot of badges to go through yet.
Thank you, Rick. I'd like to ask Kathy Hoff to come to the podium. Kathy is our Director of Elementary Learning for very special recognition.
Good evening, school board members, Madam Chair, Dr. Gaylor, Dr. Whitaker, Ms. Young. Tonight I'm here very excited to stand before you to present Neil Armstrong Elementary School as the Distinguished Title I School for the 2008-2009 school year. This recognition was awarded to only 17 out of 1,391 Title I schools in the state of Florida. Neil Armstrong is being recognized for closing the achievement gap in reading and mathematics proficiency for free and reduced lunch students and students with disabilities. Florida recognizes Title I schools that have made great progress in sustaining high levels of academic achievement and for closing the achievement gap for students in the No Child Left Behind subgroups. This school exemplifies what they consider excellence in Florida. Neil would not have been honored with this accomplishment had it not been for the talented leadership of Angie Talon and the staff at the school. They were faced with having to make adequate yearly progress at the school so that they would not have to face the consequences of differentiated accountability model that we all are involved with this year. Angie and her teachers, she had them trained on data analysis and using the data to drive their instruction. They looked at their AYP, discipline, attendance data, in order to make improvements within the classroom. The teachers met as teams to discuss the reading and math data and the students that needed the intensive instruction. They created data walls for each grade level, and the students set goals for the classrooms and themselves for reading and mathematics. All of the teachers became responsible for all students learning within the school. So not only have the curriculum practices changed at Neil this year, but the culture and the community are proud of the school and the accomplishments that have been made over the past couple of years at that school. It's an honor for me this evening to present this award to Angie Talon, principal of Neil. Angie, would you come forward to accept this as a token of appreciation for what you and your faculty do every day for students?
Wonderful reports. We have no old business tonight, so we move on to item F, new business, the consent agenda.
Mrs. Seifert, the superintendent recommends approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept and approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is item F2A, the Charlotte Alliance for a Safe and Drug-Free Community, doing business as Drug-Free Charlotte.
Yes, Mrs. Seifert, Mr. Bill James is here to make this presentation of the budget report for the Drug-Free Charlotte Board of Directors.
Dr. Whitaker, Madam Chairman, school board members, it's an honor to be here representing Drug-Free Charlotte County and standing in Amity Chandler's stead. Before I get into what I believe is most important, which is the outcomes of Drug-Free Charlotte County, let me give you a brief preamble, and it is this. As most of you know, I am the Chief Financial Officer of Charlotte Behavioral Health Care. We operate a detox facility and a drug rehabilitation facility. We don't want Charlotte school graduates in that facility. The best intervention you have going this minute, in my opinion, is Drug-Free Charlotte County. And I'm going to tell you why. The outcomes include, in the most recent survey, the 30-day alcohol use at the middle school level has been cut in half over the years from 2000 to the most recent survey in 2008, from 34% to 15%. Awesome. The 30-day use of tobacco has been cut in half from 16 down to 7%. The 30-day use of marijuana has been cut considerably from 19% to 5%. I can remember 30 years ago, well, am I that old? Yeah, I guess I am. That, and we all are aware of the history. What an awesome statement to make that, yes, we have some replacement drugs that we're addressing, but that's just awesome. That is a gateway drug. That is incredibly important to get that down. At the high school level, alcohol use has decreased 10% from 54% to 42%. Not satisfactory, but it is improvement, and it's the direction we're going that's most important. Tobacco use at the high school level cut in half, again, 28% to 14%. Marijuana use cut from 30% to 21%. Because we utilize student social norm survey each year, we know that the current 12th graders have the lowest 30-day alcohol use rates than the previous three 12th grade cohorts, 4% less than other cohorts. The current 11th graders have a 5% lower alcohol use rate than their previous three, and current 10th graders have a 3% lower use rate than their previous three. The cautionary issues are the current 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade marijuana use rates are about 3% higher than the past cohorts. The increase of grow houses, increase of political tolerance at the national level, the discussion of legalization may be contributing to increased experimentation. However, these are nowhere near the 2002 rates. That is a huge improvement. At the board's leisure, we are always available to share the exciting 140 data slides with you at any time. I wish I had them now. Oh, it was 3 minutes. I'm sorry. No, I guess I'm glad we don't. But again, I am proud. I've been with Drug Free for quite a few years now. Been with Amity almost, I think, the year after the inception. And it has been, as I said, my privilege and my honor. And I believe that you should all be very proud of what's going on and still steadfastly concerned. We never take our children and their issues for granted, and we are always, where I work and here, we treat at Charlotte probably 800 children a year, maybe more. So we are, and Drug-Free Charlotte County is in front of thousands of students, over 1,000 most assuredly. And we are doing our best. and our best is making a difference, but we're not satisfied yet. So I thank you. Are there any questions? You all also have a audit, and if there's anything I can address or respond to, I'd be happy.
Mrs. Messina.
Thank you. I don't have a question on the audit, but most of us sitting up here were a part of the conversations when we discussed whether or not we should be offering office space in kind to drug-free Charlotte County. And so we remember those early surveys, and for you to provide the outcome numbers for us tonight, that wasn't a part of our background packet. So I really appreciate that you gave us that information. We saw the audit, but we didn't have those outcome numbers. And so it really does reinforce that it was an investment in our community to offer those services to the organization. So we thank you for your service on that organization as well.
Thank you very much. And as we're all aware, the audits, the fuel, what we're looking at is the end game.
That's right.
Where are we finishing? How are we doing? How fast are we going? Are we accelerating fast enough? We're getting these outcomes, and I appreciate your statement, and that's we're doing our best. Anything further?
Any other comments? I know I wanted to say in the report that I read, I saw over $1 million in grant money, and to me that was an indication, because I know that grant dollars are so tight these days, that the grantors recognize the effectiveness of your organization, and we're comfortable in granting those grant dollars to you. So we congratulate you on your success there as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So thank you very much. And the recommended action?
Thank you, Mr. James.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. The superintendent recommends approval of the Drug-Free Charlotte Board of Directors report and budget report.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the Drug-Free Charlotte Board of Directors and the budget report. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is item F2B, the revised concept drawings for Lemon Bay High School remodel and renovations and new construction. Dr. Whitaker.
Mrs. Seifert, Jury Olivo would like to make a couple of comments on this item before the board takes action.
Good evening. I'd like to ask Jack Williams to join me at the podium. And while Mr. Spur is setting up, we'll ask Mr. Williams to do a brief overview of the revised conceptual plans for Lemon Bay. But just as a preemptive, as we all know, back in 2007, we had very high hopes that we would be in a position to move forward with the Lemon Bay project, and working towards that goal with the end in mind, we contracted with Harvard Jolly and started the process. Planning committee moved forward with lots of team meetings with the leadership team at Lemon Bay High School, as well as a meeting with staff. Second step was to move forward with the RFP process to bring aboard a construction management firm, again with high hopes that we would have broken ground. We were, as a district, unsuccessful to move forward with the breaking of ground then, but here we are today, and in a much better place with respect to being able to move forward. But as with all good plans and processes, having the team in place was integral in order to be shovel ready, so that we would be in a position to be even considered for the bonds that we find ourselves today in that position. And Mr. Alan Silvers is here with Balfour Beatty. During that RFP process, a selection committee was put together that included representatives of the community, included the leadership team at Lemon Bay High School, and Balfour Beatty was the successful construction management firm chosen at that time. And we're very fortunate to still have Mr. Silver and his team ready to hit the ground running. So with that, we're going to let Jack just walk everyone through briefly on the revised plan. There are some minor changes that we have discussed with you folks at a recent workshop, and we have brought that back to the planning committee and shared that with them. And after tonight, we'll move forward with sharing that with staff and with the Lemon Bay family in general. Jack?
Good evening. I'll be brief. This is somewhat of a reminder of the concept plans that you did see back in 2007. One of the challenges in the design of the new facility is the fact that the existing campus is 3 feet below flood elevation. As a result, one of the first items will be to address existing buildings, which we've gotten approval from the state for demolition. It's feasible to demolish them versus modernize them. So the only remaining buildings on the campus will be the Performing Arts Center, as well as the existing educational tech ed building. The concept for the design is basically a U-shaped facility that will be surrounding a secure central courtyard. A part of the site planning process is to put a new infrastructure for stormwater drainage, which will then drain to our expanded retention pond. Also, we'll be providing a new parking and driveways to maximize the parking for the campus. Also, part of the design will be the completion of the athletic facilities as a part of the master plan. Moving on to the floor plan, with the Performing Arts Center as the anchor, we'll be adding a new music suite of band, drama, and vocal. We'll also have a new kitchen cafeteria with our ProStart labs. Then moving on to the base of our 3-story building, which will be a career center, some classroom science labs, ROTC. Then moving on to the PE athletic component of it, we'll have a new fitness center, PE multipurpose rooms, locker rooms, a new main gymnasium, which will anchor the courtyard. Moving on, we'll also have a new auxiliary gymnasium with also a career tech labs, new media center, tech and business labs, our ESE suites, as well as our new administrative, which will be the new front door for the campus. Moving to the second floor. The second floor of the 3-story will be some more additional science labs, a primary classroom floor with an administrative suite and multipurpose spaces. In addition to that, an important feature of the design is to accommodate the current survey, which provides for about a 1,500 student station capacity. However, the district standard for your high school is about a 1,950 station high school. So in order to provide for the capacity for future, we're proposing that the second floor over the admin and media be a shelled space, which will enable us at some future point to add those additional stations to bring you up to your district standard size high school. That's an important feature since, because of the nature of the site and the inability of us to just add a wing on in some future time frame, this gives us the opportunity to build it as a part of the initial construction, get the shell up, and at the time when the growth demands it, then you'll be able to add those student stations rather economically. And then finally, on the third floor, we have another classroom floor with general classroom space as well as our astronomy lab. Architecturally, we hear very clear from the staff and the community in Inglewood that Lumen Bay had to have its own character, and the character that we've elected, and I think was consensus on, was a more of a Key Western Florida vernacular, with deep overhangs, metal roofs, as well as some of the detailing that will give it that character. In addition, as an important component of our design, following your directive, looking at sustainability and green features for this design will be important as we move forward in the development. So with that, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Mrs. Rendell.
You just address the elevation, please. I've had several people ask me about the elevation, what you're going to do with that.
All right.
No, Mrs. Rendell.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought somebody. I apologize. You meant the elevation, the building elevation?
Correct. what you're going to do to raise it up so, for flooding and that kind of thing.
I thought you meant the exterior elevations.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
You're pretty used to all these, and I'm coming from my perspective.
That's
I
all
understand.
right. Yeah, actually, like I say, the existing campuses are roughly about 3 to 4 feet below flood elevation. So actually, the campus itself, the building itself, will be raising up 3 to 4 feet. So that courtyard and the buildings will be up that elevation. Now, the remainder of the site will be bringing up, but we'll be tapering off as we move to the perimeter. So we still obviously have to hit the edges of the site in the grading of our facility. But again, we'll be raising up above flood as a part of this project. So hopefully that answered that question.
Very much.
I apologize for that.
No, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
And the recommended action?
The superintendent recommends approval of the revised concept drawings for Lemon Bay High School remodel renovations and new construction.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the revised concept drawings for Lemon Bay High School remodel renovations and new construction. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is item F2C, the amendment to the contract with Reynolds, Smith & Hills, Inc. for Meadow Park Elementary Replacement School. Dr. Whitaker.
Yes, Mrs. Seifert and board members, the superintendent recommends approval of the amendment to the contract for Reynolds Smith Hills for the Meadow Park Elementary Replacement School. And Mr. Olivo is available for any questions you may have.
Are there any questions by board members?
I just would like to make a comment. I found that the reuse of the plans that we've had for Sally and East and all that, we're saving approximately a little less than $300,000 by using those. Is that? It looks like $287,950. Good savings.
Yes, ma'am. The opportunity to reuse an existing design, more importantly, a successful existing design that's gone through numerous filters, certainly puts the district in a much better position with respect to cost efficiency.
Good. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions by board members? Motion for the recommended action?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the amendment to the contract with Reynolds, Smith & Hills, Inc. for Meadow Park Elementary Replacement School. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is item F2D, the revised master plan, Meadow Park Elementary remodel renovation and new construction.
Thank you, Mrs. Seifert. Mr. Olivo would like to address the board on this agenda item.
Thank you, Dr. Whitaker. As you'll recall, mid-'90s, the board has had the vision to have a master plan for all our schools throughout the district. And in 1999, that master plan, specifically for Meadow Park, spoke to remodeling and renovations, not necessarily new construction. We fast forward to the 21st century, and we move forward with a prototype, as Mrs. Miller pointed out, of Sally Jones. And we fast forward again to 2004, those ugly days, but also move forward with that same prototype. So as a matter of record, we bring back to you, and I'd ask Mr. Goodikins from Reynolds Smith & Hills, our master plan architect for elementary schools, to join me. We bring back to you the master plan as was approved in '99 and request your approval to move forward with the prototype that we have in place at Sally, Neal, Peace, and East.
Excuse me. I've got a sore throat. I guess quickly I'd like to go through the master plan effort and describe how we arrived at the placement of the new building. You can see that the dark blue shows the existing Meadow Park and placement. It wasn't our initial intention in a master plan effort to demolish or even replace it, but in the process of investigating, we found that the existing building would shortly outlive its usefulness. There were also some issues about flooding and that sort of thing that also pushed us in that direction. The site presents some problems, some issues. We've got Families First that pushes us in one small direction. The lakeside is a little bit tight for that. We also felt that circulation would be improved if we turned it south and faced it along the east-west axis. That allows us to get a nice area for play fields and split the parking and the parent access and the bus loop. The final site plan shows how the building lays out. It's the same to some degree as East and Neal and Peace with modifications. It's modified, and in one way, the exterior is different. It's its own. It has a new front. It has an identity. That's Meadow Park, we feel. We've kept the same basic strength of the plan, though, and in effect, you can see the way it lays out. This is the ground floor. Along the top and the bottom, stretching along with all exterior windows, are primary and kindergarten classrooms. Center core is the, and in the center, of course, is the admin in the center, the media adjacent, as well as the music and cafeteria. And that's what the building is.
Basically, Mr. Gudikins has moved on to the conceptual, so let me bring us back for a moment. In a nutshell, we have a master plan that showed us a remodeling and renovation. Gene, can you put that one back, please? Thank you. And we are requesting your approval to move forward with the prototype, a two-story single structure, which is a little bit different from the original '99 master plan.
Recommended action?
Yes, Mrs. Seifert, the superintendent recommends approval of the revised master plan for Meadow Park Elementary remodel, renovation, and new construction.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the revised master plan, Meadow Park Elementary remodel, renovation, and new construction. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, and that would be a wonderful segue to item F2E, the concept drawings for Meadow Park Elementary remodel, renovations, and new construction.
And the board will notice Mr. Olivo is still at the podium because he would like to address this item.
Thank you, Dr. Whitaker. Meadow Park is in a wonderful position now with the stimulus package bonding ability for us to move forward with this project as well. And again, thanks to Mr. Gudikins and the wonderful work that we've done with Reynolds Smith and Hills over the years, starting with Sally Jones and most recently with East Elementary School, and with your gracious approval of this prototype, a successful prototype, we felt we were in a great position to move forward with Meadow Park, again, being closer to shovel-ready. The design, the interior and exterior design, while the footprint will certainly be Meadow Park's, and we will make sure of that, the design is a proven design. There's some minor changes that will occur. Building code has changed since 2004, and those considerations will be taken as we move forward with 100% documents. We do not have a CM on board. However, that RFP process is in place and is running seamlessly, simultaneously as we move forward with our stormwater management, permitting, and move forward with our 100% documents that will require building official approval. So Mr. Gudikins will now be in a good position to share with you, I think, briefly, our overall conceptual design for the interior and exterior of the site.
Thank you. The concept drawings that we present tonight are in effect very, very similar. There are some modifications that came about during the iterations that we call the East Neal piece. They include a lot of code changes, most significantly from the original Sally. There are small class size amendments that change the square footage. What we anticipate for this building in terms of changes won't be, will be certain fixes. One, pointed out by Mr. Smith, that needed to be addressed was some acoustical issues that have are in the cafeteria, strengthening those. Building codes are not a significant issue at this time. However, there are some things that need to be looked at. Those are ADA things. Those are wind loads. Those are certain egress requirements as well as ratings for corridors and things like that we don't anticipate to present a major problem, but need to be addressed. The ground floor is, as I pointed out earlier, on the south and north side, 23 primary and kindergarten classrooms. They are in the center is the core facilities, the media, admin, and cafeteria. On the second floor is the intermediate classrooms. They can be modified to serve as primary as well, since we do have we do have bathrooms in these classrooms. Actually, the population, if Jerry will allow me, is 843 on the nose, because that's what the plant survey indicates, and that's what the school population dictates. We anticipate that the project will be ready to start in the next couple of months. We think a 12-month construction period is more than reasonable, and we're very anxious and very willing to begin. Thank you so much.
Any questions? Mr. Swift.
This really isn't for Mr. Goodikins, but Jerry, what you mentioned that the process for selecting the CM was ongoing. What is your basic time frame for having that selection back to us?
The RFP advertisements are currently available. We are accepting those submittals. The packages will be turned over to a selection committee that includes representation from the school that will shortlist to and then make a recommendation to the actual selection committee that will recommend to the board, which also includes a community member as well as representatives from the school. Our goal and our hope is that sometime in the second board meeting in March or the first board meeting in April, we'll be able to bring a recommendation to you so that we can then move forward with negotiations, contractual negotiations, and have that CM on board with the ultimate goal, assuming a few things, assuming that the bond we move forward successfully, assuming that the recommendation is approved, and assuming a successful negotiation that will have a CM on board ready to put a shovel in the ground as the kids leave at the end of the school year.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Messina.
Thank you. This is actually for Mr. Goodikins, but it's not a question. I just wanted to reiterate, and I know that we've said this to you in the past, but the commitment that you personally and Reynolds Smith and Hills have shown to giving each school their own identity while we're reusing a plan that our teachers and administrators and students have constantly raved about because it's a workable plan. We just really appreciate giving them their own kind of little pieces so that it makes it theirs, and listening to the communities when they have expressed to you desires that they want it included in the plan. So you've been a great company to work with is really what I'm trying to say.
Oh, thanks very much. I really appreciate that.
Any other comments or questions? All right, then superintendent's recommended action.
The superintendent recommends approval of the concept drawings for Meadow Park Elementary, remodel renovations, and new construction.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the concept drawings for Meadow Park Elementary, remodel, renovations, and new construction. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is item F2F, the superintendent's contract. Dr. Whitaker.
Mrs. Seifert, Dr. Gaylor has requested a few minutes to address the board on this issue.
Thanks, Doug. Just four things in the contract that we've agreed to, of course. Number one is the termination date or retirement date of January 31st, 2011. Second would be a transition agreement, which is important to me to make sure that the new superintendent is very much aware of all of the responsibilities of the superintendency before he or she actually takes the position. So that would occur down in the fall, November, December, January. If you would like to avail yourselves of any institutional knowledge or corporate memory that I might have past that time, I would be happy to consult. That's the third agreement that we have between February 1st and June 30th after I retire. For that, I would exchange those services for you paying my health insurance premiums for those 5 months. And finally, much as you did when I first moved here, and I appreciated it, the opportunity to spend some time looking for a home and establish a residence here, I'd now like the opportunity to sell that residence. The market is such that I do need some time to do that, so I appreciate your consideration of those 4 things this evening. Thank you.
Any discussion or questions? Then the recommended action.
Mrs. Seifert, excuse me, the superintendent recommends approval of the 7th Amendment of the superintendent's contract regarding retirement transition.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the superintendent's contract with the 7th Amendment as outlined by Dr. Gaylor. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is item F2G, personnel action and job descriptions.
Mrs. Seifert, the superintendent recommends approval of the personnel action and job descriptions presented to you this evening.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the personnel action and job descriptions. Any discussion?
I would just like to say I like the detailed job description for the paras. I think that's a big help.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have citizen comment. Ms. Smith, is there any citizen wishing to address us?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Next, attorney comment.
No comment.
Thank you, ma'am. Board member comment. Mr. Swift.
I have about 45 minutes.
Okay, well, moving right
Go
along.
sit down
Mrs.
front, you
Messina.
think?
No, not really. I just wanted to report on the 2 meetings I went to with the School Board Association last week. Thursday was the ad hoc committee established by the president of FSBA on Florida's economic commitment to education, and there are 3 subcommittees that were established dealing with the issues, and a lot of the discussion Thursday was around the difficulties in getting a handle on this issue, and what's trying to come up with the mandates of the Constitution for a high quality education, and what is a high quality, and determining what's a baseline education, and then from where we will move forward, and defining high quality. There's also significant discussion about where all the revenue sources are currently in the budget that go to support education, and what can be done toward developing a consistent, dependable, and potentially growing revenue source to support education. We finished, and a final report, a draft, is going to be put out in the next few weeks with some refinement. I think the chair of the committee, who is a Duval County board member and former state representative, was hoping that this committee was going to have results in time for it to be presented to the legislature this year. No one else on the committee had that thought, so there's significant more research that has to be done. On Friday, I was a participant in the annual joint meeting of the Florida School Board Association, the Florida Association of Counties, and the Florida League of Cities to discuss common legislative issues and common legislative concerns. The biggest concern is the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. legislation that is possibly coming forward, otherwise known as TABOR, and the potential for it creating a significant number of unfunded mandates in order to meet the requirements. Interestingly enough, TABOR has not passed in any state that it has been presented in since Colorado passed it. Colorado has been on a 5-year hiatus from the implementation of their amendment to try to recover, and that is due to expire this year. We also discussed unfunded mandates and Senate Bill 216 from last year, which was the bill that would prohibit public entities from spending public money to advocate for a position. For example, if the school district decided that they wanted to pass a bond issue, we could not use any public resources to explain the bond issue. And there's even some thought that if any staff time at all was devoted to working on the bond issue, that would be a violation. Senator Bennett has a bill in pre-filed that would repeal that. There was some thought that it may not go anywhere, but it's being rolled into some other electioneering issues that are important, so it may have some life there. Lastly, in my role as the representative on the Crossroads Board of Directors, we had a board meeting today, and one of the topics was, Greg and staff know, they had their meeting on their audit appeal, had the conference call a couple of weeks ago, and seems to have been resolved in favor of Crossroads with a couple of minor little issues that won't cost them very much money, but we haven't got it in writing yet, but it amazingly enough, logic and common sense prevailed. So thank you, Madam Chairman.
That's good. Thank you, sir. Mrs. Messina.
Thank you. I'm going to take a moment tonight to do a quick book review for many of you, for all of you actually. And this is the book, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. I'm not sure how many of you have read that, but I'm going to encourage you all to. And when I share the two little passages, you'll know why. The students with disabilities, the number of students who are diagnosed on the autism spectrum, we all know is increasing exponentially. And the narrator of this book, not the author, but the narrator is an autistic boy, a teenage boy. So I want to share with you two little passages just because it really gives profound insight into the thinking patterns of autistic people. And I think it really helped me to kind of understand how an autistic person might think, and so I think it will for you too. So he says, I do not always do what I am told, and this is because when people tell you what to do, it's really confusing and it just doesn't make sense. For example, people often say be quiet, but they don't tell you how long to be quiet for. Or you see a sign which says keep off the grass, but it should say keep off the grass around this sign or keep off all the grass in this park because there's all kinds of grass that you are allowed to walk on. It just doesn't make sense. And then there's a section where he says, when I'm in a new place, because I see everything, it's like when a computer is doing too many things at the same time and the central processor unit is blocked up and there isn't any space left to think about other things. And when I'm in a new place and there are lots of people there, it's even harder because people are not like cows and flowers and grass, and they can talk to you and do things that you don't expect. So you have to notice everything that's in that place, and you also have to notice things that might happen as well. And sometimes when I'm in a new place and there are lots of people there, it's like a computer crashing, and I have to close my eyes, and I have to put my hands over my ears and groan, because it's like pressing the Control, Alt, and Delete button and shutting down programs and turning the computer off and rebooting so that I can just remember what I'm supposed to be doing and where I'm meant to be going. So, highly recommend The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Miller.
Okay, on February 2nd, I went to see Alice in Wonderland, and primary students were awestruck by Alice and the 9-foot-tall human puppets. I must compliment Ellen on her choice of programs for our students. Everyone I've seen has been outstanding. On January 27th, we attended the grand opening of the Charlotte County Health Clinic, and Carrie Klum and her staff did an excellent job, very professional, and thank you for all you do. Today is the beginning of Florida Writes. It involves so much more than just writing, such as a strong introduction, smooth transitions, detailed body paragraphs, a concise conclusion, elevated vocabulary, anecdotes, and writing elements like similes and metaphors. I know our students will do well, and I look forward to seeing the results. There was an editorial in the Sun paper today regarding the level of compassion displayed by the citizens of Charlotte County and when a need arises. I am proud to notice that some of our schools were mentioned in the article, and the paragraph says, to local schools, Deep Creek Elementary art students that made miniature houses for Haiti and have donated proceeds from sales to Red Cross. Sally Jones Elementary in Punta Gorda raised money through a coin drive for an orphanage. L.A. Anger Middle School in Rotunda is collecting money for medications. With every school doing something, it's inspiring to see the spirit of giving fired among our youngest citizens. And that was a good article, and it's so true about our students and our staff at the various schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mrs. Rendell.
Thank you. Many times over the years, this school board has said congratulations to Port Charlotte High School Model UN students, and tonight I am saying another congratulations to them. They had an outstanding win last week at the Ivy League Model UN Conference at the University of Pennsylvania, where 150 different schools from across the United States and other countries competed. And because of the very hard work that our students put in and the long days and long nights that they study and research, our students walked away with the most awards, as usual, for the best delegate, outstanding delegate, honorable mentions, and verbal commendations. So congratulations to Bob Johnson and Debbie Monk. Certainly they put in as many hours, if not more, than their students do. Congratulations for another outstanding award for them. All of our employees and students will be admitted free this Monday to the Charlotte County Fair, and all of the schools will have artwork on display, so if you have nothing else to do this Monday, free entry into the fair and check out some of the artwork, and of course the 4-H animals and things like that will be there. And a week from tomorrow is our Teacher of the Year and Support Person of the Year event at the Charlotte Harbor Event and Conference Center. For the first time, it'll be there. Starts at around, 5:15, the program actually begins, but at 5 o'clock, people will be there. And they're selling a $900 worth of gift cards for a chance. If you buy a chance for $5 or several for $20, you get a chance to win $900 worth of gift cards. That's a lot of gift cards to get. So that's a week from tomorrow at the Event Center. And that is it. Thank you, Mrs. Seifert.
Thank you, ma'am. Of note in our agenda tonight, we approved on the personnel action the retirement of Mary Ceballos after 37 years with our district. So we wish you a wonderful retirement and hope you just enjoy and do all the things that you've not had time to do as you were working with us, and just wish you the very best and thank you for your dedication to student success. I want to thank Dr. Whitaker for sitting in as superintendent today and doing a very fine job, and thank Dr. Gaylor for the opportunity for his assistant superintendents to have this wonderful experience working with us. We received a letter from the Congregational United Church, and they are very pleased to support our support of students who strive to learn despite obvious hardship in life and find ways to provide student success. So they not only are congratulating us in this letter, but gave a $1,000 check to be used with Lucy Garner and her program of homeless students. So very nice to have that community support. Port Charlotte High, Port Charlotte Middle, Meadow Park, and Baker Center won the Veggie Mania contest. During Vitamins and Veggie Week, the students and staff at these schools selected the most vegetable servings to enjoy as part of their healthy meal at Champs Cafe, and they each got a trophy. So thank you very much, Mrs. Whitaker, for doing that and reminding everybody of the wonderful additions to our healthy lifestyle with veggies. Port Charlotte High School also won the mock trial competition this year, and there were a number of students involved with that. I believe it was last weekend, and so congratulations to the Pirates. They are really on quite a roll here with all of their recognitions, and also want to recognize that 15 local attorneys and 4 local judges took part in that mock trial competition and supported the kids. So congratulations to our Pirates, and thank you to our community members who helped them have that wonderful experience. Next, we have superintendent comment.
Thank you, Mrs. Seifert. Congratulations, Mary, on 37 years. Terrific feat. Thought about it for a moment today and realized in order for me to duplicate that, I will have to work until I'm 90. So, little chance that will happen. And it's with sadness that I want to note to the board that on December 29th of this past year, Mr. Al Lloyd passed away. Al put in 30 years of service. He was in his 31st year of service to the district. He worked at Charlotte High, Punta Gorda Middle School, Murdoch Middle, and Port Charlotte Middle School as both a teacher and a dean. He also served as an administrator for summer school programs along the way. And Al was known for his big heart and his work with challenging kids. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of young men and women in this community that thank Al for making a huge difference in their lives. So we offer him our appreciation tonight for all that he brought to us and for the kids in this community. I would also like to thank Dr. Gaylor for the annual experience of serving in his place at this board. As assistant superintendents, we love to sort of poke a little fun at this activity every now and then. But it's a great learning experience for us. So we thank you for that. And I'd like to thank the board for your kindness and understanding as we met over this past week. Dr. Gaylor, any comments this evening?
No, just good job, Doug, and thanks for taking that experience on with a smile.
Thank you. That's all for tonight.
All right. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.